episode of Girl with God. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a big shout out to everyone that has been just supporting me on this Girl with God journey. I've been getting a lot of love and receiving a lot of love from some of my friends, from some people that I know but I haven't talked to in a while. Like, it's just been amazing. And to see, like, you guys see what I'm trying to do, it's just, I guess it's really heartwarming, especially because sometimes I don't get such nice comments on my videos, and sometimes it's kind of negative, but there's going to be naysayers, so you got to just dust them off. I talked about that in one of my episodes. Just dust them off. Sometimes it's definitely hard, but I just wanted to say I really do appreciate every one of my friends, family, for anyone that is supporting me that I don't know. I really do appreciate it genuinely from the bottom of my heart. Now, we're going to get into this week's topic, which is ask, search, and knock. I'm sorry, I kind of say ask wrong. Sounds funny. I'm going to go ahead and read the verse. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the ones who seeks find, and the one who knocks the door will open. Who among you, if his sons ask him for bread, will give him a stone? Or if he asks for fish, will give him a snake? If you then, who are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? Therefore, whatever you want others to do for you, do also the same for them. For this is the law and the prophets. So, I kind of want to break this down into sections, into ask, search, and knock. So, when I was reading this, it really, like, a lot of stuff came to my mind. And I realized that navigating with God and moving in this journey with him, I think sometimes we often forget to ask. I feel like sometimes, you know how, like, you're like, did you ask your mom, or did you ask your dad, or did you ask your teacher? Like, some of my kids will be like, did you ask Miss Celestine before you did that? And they're like, no, but she knows what I'm doing. And I'll hear them. And I'm like, but you didn't ask me. So you need to ask. You need to ask to double check if this is okay, or ask to make sure that you're going to get these things. Just don't, assume something because you see something from somebody else. And so it really occurred to me, especially when I hear people talk sometimes, it's like they forget to ask God. They're like, God knows my heart. Well, God knows that I need this, and God this, and God that, and God. But it's okay to ask sometimes. You have to ask for the things you need. And I think sometimes that's where we skip the step. I think another time when it comes to like asking, or another thing when it comes to asking, is being impatient. I think a lot of the times we're very impatient when it comes to God and the things that he wants to give us after we ask him for something. And I had seen this cute little clip on Instagram, and it showed this person praying, and they were praying for a car. And it was like a little animation, and they're praying for a car, and they prayed, and it said like, oh, they wanted a car. And then it said this person had faith. They had faith because they were trusting God to instill them with the car. So the prayer went up to the angels, and this is long chain of angels. Like, this prayer is just going boop, 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 all the way up, right? And then the prayer gets to God, and God says, oh, he needs a car, or she needs a car. Give him a car. Go ahead, bring it to them. But now this prayer done went through this long line, this chain of command of angels. It got to go all the way back, because it's not just God getting up off his throne to come give it to us. It's going back through this chain. That's how the video showed it. But by the time the car got there, this person was feeding into the worldly aspect of things, feeding into its flesh, sinning, doing the things that were wrong, that were not of God. So the car just disappeared. It just went away. And I was like, wow, it really just showed me through the illustration how sometimes we're so impatient when it comes to asking and receiving. Because although God says, ask and you shall receive, you still have to stand steadfast and know that he's going to come, but he's going to come in due time. And if you read any story in the Bible, God, it was an on-time God. And he never really showed up exactly when somebody said, hey, God, come here today. Like, I don't know. Like, he just doesn't say, when you pray and like, God, come here right now. God never just came there right now. Even Jesus with Lazarus, like, knew that Lazarus was sick. And they kept calling Jesus and calling Jesus and calling Jesus. And Jesus was just like, okay, wait a second. Let me finish up my work over here. And then I'm going to get there when I get there. And Mary and everyone's weeping. And it's just a whole mess. And Jesus gets there and he's like, what's going on? And they're like, Lazarus dead. You know, don't even bother, Jesus. You showed up too late. Like, I just think about the story. You showed up too late. Like, why are you here? But even though when Jesus came and rose Lazarus from the dead and told him to take off the grave clothes, take off the bandages that he was wrapped in. Because they were thinking God couldn't do it anymore. God wasn't listening, or Jesus wasn't listening to them at that time. But I feel like sometimes we just have to just wait. Because when he shows up for you, it's going to be something bigger than you ever expected. So I feel like sometimes we have to have patience, okay? And then the last point for asking, I think sometimes we think that we can give God nothing and expect God to give to us. And that's just not how that works, okay? You can't expect the bank to give you a loan and you don't pay the loan back. You get what I'm saying? We just can't expect people just to give, and you never give anything back. And so although God says ask and you may receive, he also says do unto others what you want done to them. So you would want somebody just borrow or take it and never giving back. So I feel like not giving your time to God is another part. It takes a big role. Praying, Bible study, fasting, not feeding into the flesh of worldly things, you know, drinking, smoking, whatever it is that you just do too much of. And sometimes you have to get on yourself and be like, wow, what am I doing? So that's the first part for ask. Search was another part, and I'm going to read that verse. It says, or seek, search and you will find. And those who seek finds. Okay, so I was thinking search. You just have to search for the things that are out there. A lot of the times I hear people say, I don't know what to do, or God hasn't showed up for me, or this isn't that. And I'm like, did you search for God? Did you look? Did you say, hey God, are you over here? Oh, you're not with these people. These people are not good people. Okay, let me leave these people alone. Hey God, are you over here? Is this you in it? Okay, no. Naysayers, haters, no. Like, you have to search. You have to search for it. God just can't be seeking us. We have to seek him too. And you have to seek God with the right heart. This reminded me of someone that I worked with. And she had said something like, you know, I'm going to pray so I can get a better job. But I'm like, you can't pray and get a better job and then say you don't have a relationship with God. That's not how that works, because right now you're not praying with the right heart. You're praying with the ugly heart. Like, it's so ugh. And I had to check her heart posture, because I'm like, if you're going to pray, let it be a genuine prayer of forgiveness. Let it be a prayer of, God, I am so sorry. Like, I come to you so humbly. Even talking about it now, it just makes me like, you have to pray and search for these things, but do it with the right heart. Like he said in the verse, who among you, if the son asks him for bread, will give him a stone? So when you're doing something for someone, or when you're acting a way towards someone, or when you're searching, or when you're asking God, how is it going to be out here, and how is it going to be with him? How genuine is it? And I think this is so important. When you're searching for God, you have to have the tools to search for his people as well. You cannot just be like, I'm on this journey with God and still smoking and drinking and hanging out with the people that's doing all the rah-rah. You got to search somewhere else, because the flesh is still taking over. The bad things are still taking over. So for searching, I would say do it with a genuine heart. Do it with the heart of I'm doing this because I want to. I'm doing this just because what God is calling me to do. I'm not doing this because I don't expect anybody to give me anything back. I'm not expecting this miraculous blessing because I gave to this person time and time again. I'm doing this because I would genuinely do it whether or not a blessing comes, whether or not I'm going to get money from it. I think having a heart like that when you're searching for something, searching for God, searching for your purpose, searching for whatever it may be that's related to your journey with God, when you're searching for it, it has to be genuine. We want genuine friends. We want genuine people. We have to be that for ourselves as well. And you have to be that with God. So that's my point for number 2. When you're searching, just don't let God seek you. Seek him, and seek him with the right heart. Okay, so the last point for ask, search, and knock is knocking. I love this interpretation of knocking. I'm going to go ahead and read the verse. It says, knock, and the door will be open to you. And to those who knock, the door will be open. So it just says the same thing twice, kind of. So I think what this was saying for me is that God invites us to come to him. Like, God invites us to be like, boom, 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 boom. Like, come on in. Like, you're there. Like, when you're searching for God, you gotta go find him. And then when you find him and his people and your purpose and the path or whatever the case may be, you gotta knock on that door, and he's going to let you in. He's not gonna wait 5 business days. He's not gonna wait like oh, she waited. No, he's gonna let you in because he's been waiting for you. He's been waiting for you to come. He's been waiting for you just to get back in his love and his grace. And it reminded me of this story about the prodigal son. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I'll tell you a little gist of it and put the story on here on the side. It's basically about this father that gives the sons this money, and one son doesn't do bad with the money, and the other son, he's just out there spending dollar bills, okay? And he ends up poor, dirt poor, taking scraps from the pigs and the goats and the peoples off the floor, and just, he's so poor. He comes back home. He tells his father, he said, Father, I'll be a servant for you guys here. Like, just let me work. This lifestyle is just not good. And the father ended up celebrating him. Like, he was just happy to have his son to come back home. The father was just celebrating. They threw this big party, all of this. And it just made me really think, in reality, we need to run back to God instead of expecting him to run back to us, because he never left. He never left us. That father stayed there waiting for his son to come back, knowing what his son was going to go do. He knew what his son was going to go do. But the thing is, he never denied him. He never put shame on him. He was waiting for his son to come back home. So I feel like with knocking on the door, it's God's way of letting us know, come back home. Come back in. When it's cold outside, snowing, raining, you want to just cuddle up. That's what I feel like it is with God. He's like, just come back in. But I also would say knocking on the door requires effort, to be persistent. You just can't give up. This implies expectations. This implies that God will hear us, and God will respond, and God will show up as he always does. And in Jeremiah 29:13, he says, you will seek me and find me, and when you seek me with all your heart. So as I was saying before, when you're searching for God, it has to be in the right place of your heart. It has to be just a positive thing overall. So I hope you guys enjoyed Ask, Search, and Knock. And I hope when you ask for things with God, that you're patient with it, that you remind yourself to ask him, and just not remember that he knows your heart, but to also do things that he wants you to do when you're asking. If you're going to ask him for something, you have to do good things. Kind of like when you ask your mom, can you buy me a new phone? And she expects you to have these. When you're asking, you have to have yourself aligned. When you're searching, you have to search with the right heart posture, with the right people. And when you're knocking, you have to be persistent, and you have to keep going. And you have to remember that he's waiting for you, and he never left you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you back next week.